What's up, YouTube? This is Casey and welcome back to the channel. So I've gotten a lot of positive feedback and a lot of positive comments from my previous Webull videos. Thank you guys so much for the support and the positive feedback. It really shows you guys are appreciating the content. So thank you so much for that. I did, however, receive a couple of comments in some of the previous videos asking for a more simplified explanation of the Webull platform, in addition to some of the more simplistic overall basic day trading and stock trading terminologies. And so this video today is going to be covering an updated review of the platform, but in addition to that, it's going to be covering a lot of the just basic day trading and stock trading how-tos and just how to initiate orders and how to fund the account and stuff like that. So if you guys or new to day trading, or whether you guys are new to trading, or whether you're a seasoned person, this should be a relatively good video for you all to kind of get up to date on the latest platform, and then also in addition to that on some of the basic stock terminologies and stuff like that. So hopefully you guys found this very valuable, and if you do, please make sure that you leave a comment below and let me know what you think about it. So really appreciate it, and let's just jump into it. I'm going to go over today all of the options functionality, but not only that, I'm going to be discussing really the basics of trading. So that's really what this video is going to also focus on. It's going to I'm going to give you guys a two-in-one. It's going to go over the trading and the functionality. So let's just kind of go from there. So from a watch list standpoint, as you guys can see, I have my watch list, and this is pretty much the stocks that I'm watching. Now, for watch list, when you click on a stock, there are some things over to the right that you will see from an informational standpoint. This is kind of like I call it the quick quote, if you will. So you get the price, you get the aftermarket, and you get the percentage gains, you get the date, the last tick time on that, which is 7:59, and you get the latest news. You have the ability to add to a watch list if it's not already there. You can set an alert setting for if the stock hits a certain price, percent gain, volume, and so forth. Now, actually, before I get too far into this instruction or walkthrough, I want to actually take a step back. I got a lot of requests about providing updates for how to fund the account. So let me actually start with that first, and then we'll go to the technical side of the platform and the basics of trading. So if you go over here to the, let's take a look here. There we go, to the account tab here. It wants you to log in. So you put in your top secret, 6-digit PIN, which is here, okay? And as you can take a look here, it kind of gives you your total account value and so forth, your risk level, day trades, all that good stuff. But from a funding standpoint, what you will do is once you're on this account here, you will click on the banking tab, okay? And on the banking tab, you have the ability to deposit, withdraw, or do a stock transfer if you want to transfer funds into or out of your Webull account. So you go over to your deposit tab. It immediately opens up a deposit option to the website, and there is where you will go in and you will actually initiate the deposit. Now, for the security of your account, it says please enter your trading password. So I will enter excuse me, my trading password, and then boom, 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 all that important stuff. And then you will initiate the transfer there. Now, when you're doing a transfer, okay, when you're doing a transfer, it can take approximately 3 to 5 business days, especially if it's on your first transfer, ACH transfer. You do have the ability to do a wire transfer also by using the routing number and ABA number and account number. If you are interested in doing that on that same website, on the same page, it will give you the routing instructions, and you can go to your bank and do that for a transfer fee. But that is where you will go to do transfers for your stock. I know, seems pretty straightforward, but I've had a lot of comments in my Webull videos, people having issues funding their account, and so I just wanted to kind of clarify that. So now that we got that out of the way, going back to the watch list, take a look here. This is the stocks that I've chosen, and this is kind of the quick, if you will, the quick stock breakdown of all of the pertinent information. So you have the Apple stock, the aftermarket, the percentage, the last ticker. Now, for those of you that are not aware, you have what's called the regular business hours for stock trading, which for me is 7 to 3 o'clock. I'm on Central Standard Time. For EST, it's 7 to 4 o'clock. From 8 to 4. and then you have after hours that ends at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So 8 o'clock, excuse me. I'm so used to the Central Standard. It's 7 o'clock Central Standard, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So that's after hours. And so basically here, I don't want to get too bogged down on this stuff here. It's level 2. It just basically kind of goes over the tiered structure of how many people are lining up to buy the stock and how many people are lining up to sell the stock, and it breaks down the amount of shares that are at each price level. So this kind of gives you an indication as to if there's a high demand for the stock or if there is a high demand to sell the stock. But just keep in mind, I use this with a grain of salt just because a lot of this is algorithms, and they play a lot of games with buying and selling, with showing shares that they do want to sell or don't want to sell, and vice versa. Just lots of games, so I don't particularly get too involved in that. For a statistics standpoint, it kind of goes over the open, the high, and the low. Pretty self-explanatory. And then you have what's called the time and sales as well. So if we were in regular trading hours, even after hours, or even pre-market, you would see a ticker that kind of shows every single order that goes down. Now keep in mind, guys, unless you are day trading and you are scalping, you're never going to use this bid and ask share stuff. You're not going to use this ticker share stuff, even really any of these analysis. But I'm just showing it to you so you have it. From a buy standpoint, you have the ability to be able to purchase a stock. So you have your limit, your market, your stop limiting, and trailing stop. Now, I've made a video in the past about what these different order types are, but if you guys have not had a chance to take a look at it, I'm going to go over very briefly what these are. So a buy limit is basically you want to buy stock when the price drops. So if Apple is at 120.96 and you want to buy when it gets down to 119, you will put a buy limit in for 119. That's basically it. Put a buy limit in for 119. So understand that a buy limit is basically saying that's my limit. I don't want to go above that. Now, I'll just leave it at that. I was going to say if you go above the current price, it's going to execute immediately, but there's no point in just really discussing that because you wouldn't put a limit in for that. So from a buy limit standpoint, that's what that is. From a market standpoint, literally you are telling the market to put me in at the quickest price. I want in right now. You will always be filled at the ask price when you do a market order. A market order says, I want to buy the stock right now for the lowest price, and the lowest price that someone's willing to sell them for is 120.08. So if you hit a limit order, put a market order in, boom, you get filled. It's instantaneous, just like that. And let's take a look here. A stop order from you have a couple of, from a sell side, you have the sell stop. So usually when people want to get out when a stock falls to a certain price. So let's assume that you are already inside of Apple 120.96. And you're like, you know what, if it falls to 118, I want out. Well, you would put a sell stop in there to get out of that at that certain price. Now, from a buy standpoint, a buy stop says, okay, Apple is at 120.96. I want to buy it when it gets to 122 because I want to catch the upward momentum. You put a buy stop in for that. So you would go here, you'd put the buy stop in for 122. And you can choose whether you want to have, and this is the case for all different order types. You can choose whether you want to have the day or good till canceled. More than usually, if you're going to be investing or swing trading, you're going to probably have a good till canceled, not the day, but good to cancel. And then you will put your stop price in, and then you will hit place order. So that's pretty much it. You can also add what's called a take profit order. This basically says that once your stop price is hit, I want to take profit once it goes beyond that. So let's say if it gets to, as you put your buy order in at 122, which already kind of you have your stop loss. So that was, let's say 120, let's just say 119. And then you have your take profit at 130. So what this order means is that you want to enter a trade when it gets to 122 automatically. So boom, you're in at 122. Okay, your stop loss is at 118. So if it goes down, once you get filled at 122, below 119, it automatically sells. And if it goes up to 130, it will automatically sell as well for a profit. So that's how that works. It can be a little confusing, but once you understand what the different version orders are, it makes a lot of sense. So from a buy standpoint, a buy stop is when you want to catch something going up. A sell stop is when you want to get out when it's going down, and then just make sure to switch those around. A buy limit is when you want to buy something once it drops to a certain price. A sell limit is when you want to sell something when it gets to a certain, goes up to a certain price. So you just kind of get used and familiarize with knowing that the prices, excuse me, the order types have kind of flipped based on whether you want to buy or sell. Took me a little while to figure it out, but once you get used to it, it's kind of self-explanatory. On the same screen here, you have the ability to do what's called a grid view. So this is kind of like your list view, but if you want to do a grid so that you can add, so that you can take a look at the additional charts for those stocks in addition to seeing the prices, you can do that. As you can see here, you know, now these are actual. You don't get quotes on these because you can't buy and sell these. These are indexes, so you wouldn't do that. But for say Schwab, SSO, actually I'm not even sure why I have this in here, Tesla, Microsoft, and so forth, you have that. So that is pretty much that. From a widget setting standpoint, over here to the right, you also have the ability to modify the different widgets that are over here. So let's say if you're like, you know what, dude, I'm not going to use this time and sales. I'm just not going to use it. I don't really care about any of this stuff. I just want to kind of simplify it. Once you go over here, you have a lot of different widget settings and functionality that gets provided by Webull. So you don't have to, again, you guys, don't be intimidated by this. It's not an overly complicated platform. A lot of people make trading a very complicated one to where they want to add a bunch of analysis, a bunch of indicators, and it's just overkill. And so, you know, I find that the easiest layout that you have, the most streamlined layout you have, is going to be best. So for me personally, right, I do more of a swing trading strategy. So I don't really deal with the time and sales. I don't really deal with the limit twos because, again, I've been trading for years, and I just found there's a lot of manipulation with that. Market makers, which are people who actually keep the liquidity in stocks. So to give you guys a quick breakdown of that, you have what are called market makers for stocks. And what that means is that basically there are institutions that are buying and selling Tesla and pretty much all stocks on the market on a continual basis. And the reason that they do that is because if they didn't do that, what would happen is you would want to go buy Tesla at 418 and the next price would be 440 or 450 or even higher. Or you would want to go buy it and there wouldn't be any shares available because they've all been bought and there's no one selling. And so the market makers, they basically help provide liquidity to make sure that there's always someone buying and selling. Now you would ask the question, why would they do that? Well, the reason that they do that is, one, it helps keep liquidity in the markets. But two, they basically scalp all day. And so they kind of take a few cents off of the buying and the selling of the stocks. And if you figure if they do thousands or tens or hundreds of thousands of trades a day, which they do, and this is all done through computers, they make a lot of money. Not really, it's way beyond the scope of this video, but I just wanted you guys to understand how that works. So we've discussed the different order types. We've discussed the different widgets. Again, you know, from a simplistic standpoint, make sure you guys are just keeping it very easy. You don't want to have too many screens that are going to be confusing or too many things that are flashing. It just doesn't matter, right? So I have statistics. I have my trade button, my buy and the sell. And if you want to do orders and positions, you can do that. If you want to just take a look and see what positions and stocks that you're in right now. So if you want to keep a look at that, you can see I have this up here. So these are all the stocks that I'm currently in right now. You know, totally play around with it and do it basically how you want to do it. If you do have that widget open, you can go over to the orders tab, and this will give you a layout of everything that of all of the orders that you currently have open, that you filled, that you've canceled, and so forth. So this gives you a list of all of the orders that I've purchased and filled. And as you can see here, and these are actually my real orders, it's all SPY, it's Tesla, and it's Apple. That's all I trade, guys. When I am trading, I trade large cap stocks. I trade stocks that are very large, that have high liquidity, and that are not very subjected to manipulation. The reason that I do that is really just for those reasons. I also make sure that I only trade stocks that if I ever got caught into a situation where I bought it and it dumped on me, that I would be comfortable enough holding the stock. So that's just me. A lot of different people who day trade or swing trade or invest, mostly day trade, they like to find the stocks that are moving for that day. And so they'll do that based on their the watch list, and based on their screeners, the stock screeners. But that is not my strategy. I like to make sure that I try to minimize my money loss, and so I do that by purchasing stocks that I pretty much only trust or want to hold. You can see I have a couple of Virgin Galactic holdings as well. I like them. They're more of a speculative play, but I think they're going to be great. So that's that. Let's see here. I think I went over already the notifications, the price alerts. So if you guys wanted to do that, you can do some additional alerts as well. So if a price starts rising or falling significantly over certain moving averages, you can do that as well. And that is that. All right. So you can play around with it, have fun with it, and yeah. So over here to the stocks, you guys will notice that a lot of this is kind of redundant from the screen list standpoint. And the reason is because a lot of the data that you're going to need is going to be required on multiple screens. So what you'll find here is that when you go over to the stock list, you will see the stocks over the watch list, which you have over here as well. But in addition to the watch list, you have your stocks charts as well that you can see, right? And if you go over to the watch list over here, you don't have that unless you go to a grid view. So go over to your stocks, and let's just say we choose Apple, and then boom, there you go. And you have your stocks of the day. Now, from a day trading or swing trading standpoint, I want to share with you guys what I do to trade. Okay, again, there's different strategies and whatnot. I have a very simple philosophy. We keep things simple and don't overthink it. So again, I only trade stocks that I trust, that I would be willing to hold and invest in, but I will trade those. What I use here, as you guys can see on my screen, these are what are called moving averages. A moving average is just literally the price of a stock over the certain period of time that you've chosen. So this is the 200-day moving average. So this means over the past 200 days, this is the average price of the stock. This is the 100-day moving average. Over the price of the last 100 days, this is the average price of the stock. This is the 50 moving average. This is the 20 moving average. This is the 9 moving average. How did I choose these moving averages? These are the moving averages that are pretty much standard for trading in general. These are kind of like self-fulfilling prophecies. Almost anyone who day trades or swing trades or even looks for investing, they will a lot of the times buy off of these. Oh, look at this, Apple. Look at what happened. It literally went and stopped on this moving average, and look what had happened. It sold off, almost touched this moving average, and got bought all the way back up to it. So these are really key support levels that everyone who trades stocks or invests or trades or swing trades would typically use. So that's a little bit of update and a little bit of game for that as well. Over to the right, you guys can see there's some similarities as to the watch list. Again, you have the Apple stocks, you have the price, you have your total view. So these little tabs over here, this shows you what you're subscribed to, and this gives you kind of like some quick informations on the stock that you have up on the screen. So this is telling you that I have a real-time data feed. This basically means that if you don't have a real-time data feed with Webull, then this will be delayed. I don't know. I can't remember how much it's delayed by, but you'll get a delayed feed. Again, if you're swing trading or investing, it's not a big deal. If you are day trading, yeah, you definitely are going to want to have the NASDAQ total view, which is pretty cheap. I think it's like $8 a month or something like that. And I even think they're offering a promotion right now where they're giving it to you for like 3 months free. So definitely take advantage of that. Shorting, I'm not going to go into a lot of details with shorting, but basically if people who are who do want to short stocks, this is telling you how much a margin you have to have. So basically if you want to short $10,000 of Apple, this is telling you that you have to maintain $3,000 of margin at all times, which means you can either, well, let me rephrase it to put it this way. If you had $10,000, you could only short $7,000 of your $10,000 because they want to make sure that you have 30% in cash in case the trade goes against you, and then they can do a margin call and get their money. So you can never fully margin out a stock. So if you have $20,000, you got to keep 30% of that to short a stock or vice versa. So hopefully that makes sense. Oh, if you guys are interested in shorting stocks, I'll be happy to make a video about it. Just make sure you leave a comment below, and I'll if I get enough requests about that, I'll make a video about that as well. Okay, so recently, this is pretty much just going over any stocks that I have recently typed in up here. It just kind of keeps a running list of that. So, stocks I put in, and anything I put in from a search list standpoint, that comes up here. Now, I'm going to go over indicators with you guys, but I want to keep it very simple. I'm not going to go over all the indicators, but I just want to kind of go over the main ones that people use and that I recommend you guys use as well. So again, don't get overwhelmed. Don't overthink these. It's not super complicated. A lot of people try to make these complicated for whatever reason. It's not. I'm just going to give you the very basic ones that I think you guys should trade off of. And if you're interested in doing anything additional to that, then, have at it and go do research. So from a trading standpoint, I've already kind of given you guys the main ones. This is nothing special, but these are really, really important. Another really important one that I use is the RSI. That's the relative strength indicator. This is telling you if there's a lot of buying or a lot of selling going on at one time, and the time frame of that. So anything that is over a 70 RSI means that typically it is overbought. Not always, but typically. So take a look here. It's technically overbought here. It pulls back a little bit and then it kind of continues over. Not 100% of the time it's going to necessarily always pull back, or that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the top, but it's an indication that the stock's going to pull back a little bit, which this did, and then it continued on. So an RSI is a good indicator as to when you may want to start taking an opposite end of the trade. So a stock that is overbought, which is up over 70 or 80 or so forth, means there's a high probability that it's going to pull back, whether it's a day or a couple of days, a week or so forth. You're not entirely sure. In this case, it was a few days. And then the same thing goes for stock that is oversold. Let me take a look back here. Apple, as you can tell, almost never ever gets oversold because everyone wants it. But this is AMD actually. So from an AMD standpoint, this is oversold, which means this would be probably a good time to take a long opportunity, be a good time to buy the stock based on it being oversold, and you would have made money. All right, if you hold it long enough. So that's why I use the RSI indicator. So use moving averages. I use the RSI. And then volume is another good indicator, and it's really important because this is telling you how much demand is in the markets for the buying and selling, just overall volume. Now, typically this would be a good indicator for the movement and the price action, but you guys have found, as of recently, I have found that just because the Federal Reserve is really the ones that's driving a lot of these markets, that the volume has slowly been dwindling, but the stocks haven't really been pulling back. So, hopefully, we'll see some type of continued pullback, in the next few days or weeks or so. But, typically volume gives you an indication of that. So if you see here, lots of big red volume, this means this should be a significant pullback, but then it just stops and continues on. But volume is a very important indicator. Additional indicators. Okay, so these are more on the drawing line standpoint. So if you guys wanted to start drawing trend lines, right, to try to get an idea as to when things are going to start breaking down, you would do that here. Okay, what I think I'm going to probably end up doing is making a separate indicator video, a technical indicator video, just because I think there's probably pretty good demand for that, and it really in its own self could totally take over its own separate video. So I'm not going to cover too much in detail about additional technical indicators, but those are the main ones. Okay. And let's see here if I left anything else off the screen. I don't think so. I think we pretty much covered everything. Oh, you do have the performance tab here on the bottom, which is a really cool indicator because this lets you know basically how this particular stock has been performing, right? So if you guys were to buy the SPY, which is the ETF for the total S&P index, pretty much the total market, this is how much money you would have made buying and holding it for this period of time. Again, I can't stress to you guys enough about the importance of buying and holding. There are some day traders that make a lot of money, but they're mostly the day traders who lose a lot of money. And I've been fortunate enough to where I can make a few dollars day trading, but it requires a lot of work, requires a lot of patience, and it requires really doing a lot of purchasing based on your position sizing, which a lot of new traders don't really understand that. And so I always find that buying and holding is the best strategy. From a settings standpoint, I did want to also discuss the settings as well. So if you want to see extended hours, if you guys are really into that stuff, you can do that. You can choose an advanced or simplified chart. You can do overlap volume. Let's see here. Not really too much stuff I want to totally cover on this today. Again, I want to try to keep this very high level. Markets, right? So this market stuff here, what is this? So, there are indexes that cover the total direction of the overall markets. And the three main indexes are called the SPY. It's a little cute way of saying the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is an index that literally tracks the top 500 companies on the stock market, right? So usually as the big dogs go, the total market goes. And so you do have the ability to trade the total market, which is what most people do, which is what most professional traders do, and which is what a lot of, if you were to have like an investment fund manager, if you were to give your money to an investment, company, a lot of them trade the SPY. All right, so they invest in the SPY. You have the Dow. You guys know the Dow 30, right? The Dow Jones, top 30 companies, the Coca-Colas, the IBM, stuff like that. The old antique dogs, like to call them, right? And then you have your NASDAQ, which covers the tech stocks. And I'm not going to really go into this, just kind of TMI here. The advanced and decliners, this is just pretty much telling you how many stocks are red for the day and how many stocks are green for the day. Okay, again, I want to keep this for a high level, so I'm not going to go into super detail about every little single thing that I don't think is pertinent for a beginning trader. But these are just pretty much charts and rankings for, trends for stocks, random stocks that are up for the day. This pretty much won't mean much to you unless you guys already have done your research and you know what you want to buy and sell. I don't use this at all, so if you guys are interested in using it, you can, but I don't particularly use it. Let's see here. Yep, so I really pretty much stay away from that. Now the screeners, this is the fun stuff here, okay? So from the fun stuff here, from the screeners, these are my screeners. I have my bomb watch list, and I don't really have much in that. I think this is a little test watch list. You guys can set up your own watch list however you want to do this. So you can choose what region, if you want to do US, China, Canada. Obviously, most of your stuff is going to be US. I like to trade the NASDAQ, and you can even choose a sector. I don't really do that. You can choose a certain market cap. Keep in mind that when you're day trading and buying stocks, or pretty much anything, typically higher market cap stocks trade less volatile, typically. So usually stocks, of course, unless you're Tesla, which is insane, but typically stocks, okay, so from a small market cap standpoint, anything from, say, like $100 million to $1 billion could be considered a small market cap, right? Market cap is the total market capitalization of all of the stocks. So if you, I should say the total outstanding shares. And so if you have like a Tesla and they have like 1,000 shares that are outstanding, you take their 1,000 shares and you times that by however what the current price is, and that's their total market capitalization. Doesn't really mean much to you, but what does matter is just understand the market capitalization of the stocks that you are trading. If you start dealing with like the really small stocks, like the SPCE, which is the Virgin Galactic and stuff like that, those things get really volatile. You make a lot of money, you can lose a lot of money. So just kind of keep that in mind. But from a stock screening standpoint, it's kind of self-explanatory. You can choose your stocks here. You can choose the earnings per share if you want to trade based on the fundamentals. You can choose a different fundamental categories. Most people won't really use those. If you want to try to find RSIs that are oversold, right? So these are stocks that are oversold, and you would think, hey, I want to try to find some good deals, and they could be oversold for a number of reasons. It could be usually bad news, bad earnings. It could be a lot of different reasons, but that's that. Analyst ratings, I would almost always ignore these. I find that they're wrong 99% of the time. Usually analyst ratings are so wrong that I think that they intentionally give us some misinformation. It's just my opinion. But if you guys want to do analyst ratings, you can do that. Strong buys, boom, there you go. All right, so once you have that, you can go over here to my second bomb watch list, save, and boom, go up to the screeners, and then there you go. All right, so that's the one that came up. So these screeners are real time, so as different stocks come up, you will begin to see these change. So kind of cool. And of course, you can always buy off of your watch list as well, real time. So that's that. Let's see here. Over here to the markets. If you guys notice, a lot of this stuff's very kind of, I don't want to say redundant, but you can see a lot of the data that's carry over, right? So we've gone over this. We've gone over the inflows. We've gone over all of that. We've gone over the screeners, and then to the trade. So this is really for the active traders, people who want to have a lot of charts in front of them, and they want to see things happening from multiple stocks at the same time. So these are customized boards up here to the top, right? So you can do 4 trades, which kind of breaks down, have 4 different screens. You probably aren't going to want that. You can have 2 trades. Again, you guys need to just keep in mind, just play around with this to kind of get customized to what you want. Again, it's totally up to you as to what you guys want to see. So don't be intimidated by this. You just kind of have to get in there and play around with what you guys want to do. But those are the custom layouts. You do have the ability to add additional ones if you like by going over to a new board and then specifying what you want to add. So you can pretty much just go here, choose a customized one. You can go over to the default, choose a normal board, you know, pretty much however you want to do it. So just have to play around with it to customize it however you want to, how you want to set that up. Let's see here. From a drawing standpoint, these are the indicators I kind of already talked about. You can do your trend lines, you know, all that stuff. I mean, you guys should pretty much be familiar with trend lines. And let's see. From executing an order, you can do that obviously from the screen. As you guys can see here, you have the stock, Apple. You can choose Vonage, Zynga, however you want to do it, right? You can also choose your watch list from the active watch, from the top watch list over here as well, or your bottom watch list. This is so that you can trade off of your watch list from the active stock trading screen, right? So that way you guys don't have to go back and forth. Let's see if I'm forgetting anything. You got your account details, you got your watch list. We've already got that up here already. Positions, orders. I think we've pretty much touched on all of this. All right. Your active trade button. I don't think you guys can really be using any of that. Well, the active trade you're gonna probably want to use if you want to actually put orders in a lot quicker. So if you just want to have like a default, you know, order group to just say, hey, I want to buy a default 100 shares or 50 shares, you can do that. You can even customize the different type of orders that you want to put in. So it gets pretty detailed if you guys want to get more advanced on it. But overall, you'll find out that it's relatively easy to use. Again, I've been using Webull for a few years now, ever since they've come out. This is my primary platform. I use them to day trade. I use them to swing trade, and I do some investing with them as well. I find it's great. Also, from a day trading order standpoint, again, kind of TMI, but I just want to kind of give you guys some information. If you are doing scalping, okay, scalping basically means that you want to buy a stock and you want to get out of that stock for like a few cents because you're trading with large position size. That's what we call scalpers, right? That's a certain type of day trade. You're going to almost never, ever use a market order. Okay, so market orders, you're going to always get bad fills. You're going to not always get the best price. And pretty much people who use market orders are people I find are pretty much investors that a few cents doesn't matter. But from a scalping standpoint, you'll never use that. And even from a swing trading standpoint, if you guys want to buy Apple today and you want to sell it, let's say a week later, a couple of weeks later, putting the market order in isn't a big deal. But I always find that it's always diligent to do a limit order, just because that's the most prudent way to make sure you get the best price. And if you go down here to your account, click on your account, you get all your nice account settings. I really do like the screen a lot because over here, it just pretty much lays out everything for trading. You get your net account value, your day trading buying power, you get your running buying power, you get your risk level, and you get your day trades left. So for you guys that are new to day trading, let me give you some information with how the trading works. Okay, so you only have the ability to buy and sell a stock once. Well, let me rephrase that. You have the ability to buy and sell up to 3 times within 5 business days. That's it. So the SEC and the government, they limit you from being able to buy and sell a stock within the same day, no more than 3 times within 5 business days. So if I buy a stock tomorrow, well, let's just rephrase. If I buy a stock tomorrow and I sell it tomorrow, and I buy another stock the next day and sell it the next day, and so forth, then I can't make another day trade for 2 more business days. Okay, and they do this because they say it's to protect small investors. I don't know. Now, just so you guys are keep aware, if you buy a stock and you sell it the next day, that is not a day trade. You can buy and sell a stock the next day, and it's not a day trade. It doesn't count against you from a day trade. But from day trades, you can only day trade, which means to buy and sell a stock within the same day, no more than 3 times within 5 business days. Just want to give you guys a heads up on that so you don't get caught. So this tells me that I have 3 day trades left, and that's why you have the 5 threes there, right? So this would mean it got some tomorrow, a couple of days from now, 3 days from now, 4 days from now, 5 days from now. Net assets, that's how much money you have in there. It's $40,000. I moved someone to another account, so that's why that's down. Shows my P&L. And it's pretty much kind of gives you a quantity and everything else there. So pretty, very clean, very easy to understand. Let's see here. It gives you account statements, your tax documents, options, your beneficiaries. You know, if you wanted to allocate someone else onto the account. You have your message center, right? So if you wanted to send them, let's say, so I actually went over the PDT trading rule to show you guys what happens with that. So what happens is if you do go over your PDD trading rule, so let's say you submit a fourth day trading buy, tongue twister, within 5 business days, what will happen is you will get a margin call. So this is what will happen. I'm so glad I showed you guys this. So this will say, hey, you made 4 day trades within 5 business days. So now, based on however much money you have in your account, we need 24,523 to get you up to 25,000 because we now consider you a day trader. And you cannot day trade another day trade unless you call and ask us for forgiveness. So on the screen, if you do that, you'll ask them, click on a pattern day trader reset request. They'll give this to you maybe once every 6 months, maybe. And basically, they have you fill like a little simple questionnaire, so understanding what day trading is and yada yada. It's like a 5-question thing. You hit submit for request, and then they'll reset it for you. So let's see here from a settings standpoint, right? So you have your general tab. You can choose your exchange time. I'm Central. All right. The exchange time here is by default, so it would be like Eastern Standard. All right. Choose your English language, your ticker symbol, how you want that to display. Symbol over the name or name over the symbol. Use your theme color. I like black. It's easier on the eyes. White is very hard to see, especially for demonstration. So I never ever use black. I never ever use white. Not to mention, it also uses a lot more system resources too. So, and then you can choose how you want to show your colors for your stocks going up and down. You can do green, red, red, green, green, yellow, however you want to do that. So totally up to you. People who are really, really high into day trading can do a little hotkeys. They can kind of like submit orders and things like that really fast. I won't go too much into detail here, but you do have the ability to play around with that. You can even choose what hotkeys on what screens. So the general tab, the chart tab, and so forth. So trades, you can specify what you want your default trade to be, right? So your default is going to it's going to always be a market or a limit. Again, markets are just for people who just don't care about losing a few cents. They want to just get in. A limit is for people who are more prudent and say, hey, I only want to buy the stock when it falls a certain cents or to a certain price. You can choose whether or not you want your order to be extended to extended hours. So if you see a stock moving up, and you just don't want to have to go in there and specify extended hours when you're putting the order in after hours, you can do that. So just set up your default orders. Kind of self-explanatory stuff here. Notifications, right? What kind of notifications do you want to get when you cancel an order, when you put an order in, your alerts, things like that. Your security tab, how you want to do that. So security tab is your number, 2-factor authentication, all that good stuff. As of right now, I am on 3.18.35 current version. You can go to a newer version if you click here, and as you can see here, it says I'm already on the latest version, so that's not a problem. And guys, that is it. So I try to keep this very high level, but as you guys can see, Webull is such a cool platform. It's easy to use. It looks very complicated, but as you start to play around with it, you'll find out that it's very, very easy to set up and to play around with. One of the questions I also got is, can you snap in the widgets and the screens? One of the guys said he had a hard time with things being moved around, and you do not have the ability to snap those in, which some of the other platforms do provide you to. But I have found just playing with this and using this over the years that I haven't really had a problem with moving the screens off. So if you guys are having a problem with that, I would recommend that you just try to be a little bit more diligent when you are executing, modifying your screens so that you don't really have that problem. But overall, I haven't really experienced that a lot. So, I find that when I have a widget and I have a screen on here, it's pretty solid. So it doesn't move around a lot. And that's it, guys. So we have gone over the different order types. We've gone over the different screens. I've gone over with you guys my trading strategy. I've discussed with you the different indicators as to what to use. I've shown you guys how to actually fund the account as well. I've told you how long that's going to take. I've showed you guys how to initiate trades from all of the different screens. And that is it. So hopefully you guys found this very informative. Hopefully it was very entertaining. If you did, please, please, please smash the like button. As you guys know, I do a lot of different Webull videos, and I do this because I get a lot of requests on those, and also because I find that people really want to see these, and there aren't a lot of videos on these that continually give you guys the latest updates. I think I'm probably the #1 channel on YouTube for Webull videos and giving updates. So if you guys really like the content, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment, let me know what kind of questions you guys have. Other than that, thank you so much for the support and following the channel, and I will talk to you later. Take care.